Okay, great. So first of all, welcome to the Belgian Power Addict Global Platform Bootcamp 2022 already. Time flies. So warm welcome to everyone. Just before we start, and it's like a relatively short session today, so I'll try to go as fast as possible. Before starting, just some housekeeping, let's say, for everyone to be aware of others, be friendly, welcoming, understanding, and kind and considerating others. Oops, sorry. Also, just some housekeeping about asking the question. So yeah, if you can ask it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, if you want to turn off or not your camera, it's really up to you. And yeah, if you also like or have something during the meeting, you can use the reaction button. It's also perfectly fine. Of course, thank you to our sponsors, to our gold sponsors, Amplexar and Process Delight, and to our silver sponsor CTG for this bootcamp. Briefly, just quick words about me. My name is Alaa Bitar. I'm a manager and modern workplace architect at Avanade. And yeah, sorry, guilty as charged. I'm a SharePoint addict since 2007. And yeah, I basically discovered this technology and my first professional experience, let's say. And yeah, since that, it never left me, or I never left this technology. But without further ado, today, maybe, okay, I think you have, most of us here in today's session have maybe heard or worked with Power Apps and the Power Platform and so on. And yes, basically every time we go and we build, like, we automate some process, some business process, and so on. But today I just wanted to show you another side maybe of the technology. And yeah, we can make fun apps and useful apps, and honestly, this app I use it often. So basically it's a Dictaphone application to be able to record your voice and keep the different voices that you record on your mobile, and then play them back or send them as an email and receive your voice as an attachment, for example, and yeah, so on. So basically, let me show you. So this is the application, the UI of the application that we want to build today. So yeah, very simple application. Let's say you have this record button. You click on it. You say, hey, please remind me that I have to go to the groceries in the afternoon. You hit the stop button, and then yeah, it created like an item on your screen. You can play it back. I don't know if you hear it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work when I'm sharing my screen. And then yeah, you can click on this like send button, and basically the item is sent to your mailbox, and as attachment you will receive the voice as attachment in your email. And yes, of course, you can also delete the item. So this is from a UI perspective. This is in the Power Maker or in the Power App Studios. This is what the application looks like. So basically, it's a one page, and yeah, very simple, one or two, or at least a couple of components. So just for the sake of the demo, I just initiated like a blank canvas app application, so we don't wait for the studio to load the project. So as we can see, so let's think about it all together. So we want to build a Dictaphone application. So first thing we want to have is like this ability or possibility to be able to record the voice. So how can we leverage that? So in Power App, so we have this media section, the media section, different components that we can add or leverage in our Power App application. And here we have this microphone component that we can put it wherever we want in the page. So let's place it here, and let's rename it as microphone. Phone. Okay, so here out of the box, if I click on the start button, I can have a button that allows me to record my voice, or basically everything that is coming from a microphone, and I can hit the start button, the stop button, and that's it. Okay, cool, great, but I want to be able to save or to put what has been recorded into some, let's say, placeholder. So how can we do that? When we select our microphone, we have a couple of properties that we can leverage, and one that we have to look into it. We have like 3 different events. The unselect is like when I click on the button. The onstart is actually when the recording is start happening, and the onstop is basically when I hit this stop button. So basically what I want to do is I want to be able to take what the component has recorded and put it in some kind of placeholder. So as we want to be able to record several voices, let's say, we are looking for a placeholder that can store like different elements. So the placeholder in the Power App environment is called a collection. So how can we initialize, or how can we put item in that collection? Very simple. There's a function called collect. Collect, the first parameter, it takes the name of the variable or the name of the array, if you want, where we want to put our item. So let's name it recorded audios. Okay, so this is the name of my variable, and then the actual item that I want to store. What is the actual item? So basically, the voice that has been recorded is from in a property of the microphone. So here I say microphone dot audio. Okay. If I just do that, every time I hit the stop button in the record, it takes the audio property and it puts it in as a new item, let's say, in my array called recorded audio. But okay, this is cool. I have the recorded audio, the voice, let's say. But yeah, let's say I want to also be able to record the time where the record happened. So we can definitely extend the object that we are saving. So we can leverage like this JSON, let's say, syntax. So here I can say that that my object have an audio property that is linked to the microphone.audio property. And then let's say I have another property called recorded on. And here I can just leverage the now function that basically just take the data, the current data, and put it in that recorded on. So now, as we can see, we are a bit expanding the functionality. So we are not only recording the audio, but also the recorded on daytime of when the recorded happened. So, okay, great. Let's see happen. So I click on start, test. Please remember me to go to the groceries. I hit the start button. I hit the stop button. I hit again the start button. I can record another thing and say stop. Okay, cool. I know now that every time I click start and stop, items or entries are added to my recorded audio array. Cool. Now we want to be able to display them to the user or to ourselves. Huh? So how can we leverage that in the Power Platform? There is a component, a very handy, let's say, component. It's called gallery. Basically, I can add it here. Okay, a gallery is a placeholder where we can attach and give its items property a certain value or point to a certain array. And automatically, for us, the gallery takes that those items in the property, and then it's going to loop over every single item. And what we have to do is that we have to say to that gallery, how do you want every item to be displayed? So first, let's put the gallery like just below our start button, and maybe center it more. So in the gallery, let's link it to what? To our recorded audio collection or array, if you prefer. So what I want to be able to see for each record. Okay, I want to see if we go back to the microphone. So we say that we are storing two properties. One property called audio, and the other property called recorded on. So let's say let's first add a label in our gallery, and what I want to show in that label is not the audio property, but the recorded on property. And we can even say that we want to do a condition and say that recorded on two dots, and I concatenate with the recorded on recorded on property, and let's just make it at the top of the gallery. So as you see, as we recorded twice, already the gallery is rendering the element for us. So the loop is done automatically for us for this one, and this is the out-of-the-box behavior of the gallery, and this is why it is really really nice. So directly it will loop for us on all the different elements. So okay, now we have the date and time, and we see that when this item has been recorded. Great, cool. One other handy function that we may want to leverage is to be able to play back the recorded voice. So to do that, super simple. Also in the Power App, if we leverage the media section of the different components that we have this audio component that we can just take. Let's also center it and make it just below the label. And basically, this media, this audio component has a property called media, and then we just have to link the media property to our audio property for our item. Because remember here, whenever each time we save our recording, we are creating an object that has two properties. The first one is the recorded on, the data. We already have put it in the user interface. And the second property is a property called audio. So we just need to link this audio property to the media property of the component. And then if we click on the play button, for every one here, I don't know if you hear it or not, but at least you can see that the time, the length of the item is a bit different. So believe me, those are the two records that I saved. And let's hit the start button again, and just record it for, let's say 6 or 7 seconds, make it stop, and then I see that I have my other item. So as you can see, it doesn't look like very good on the UI, because I have this scroll and I have plenty of spaces in my UI here. So I can just take select the gallery and just make it bigger to take the whole height of the screen. And also one property also that is quite handy in the gallery is this template size. So basically, the template size property within the gallery sets the height, the default height of every item. And here we see that, basically we still have some space, so we can definitely, we can hard code it to, let's say, not 100 or maybe 200. So at least, it's a bit, it looks a bit nicer, let's say. And also, let's say we want to have like separator between each record. To do that, so there's many ways, but what I usually do is like I add a rectangle. Let's say I add a I insert a rectangle. Up. Rectangle. Okay, I make that rectangle like, let's say, it's the height, and grab it. Oops. Let me grab it. Let's say, yeah, put it at the end and make it, you know, a bit bigger, and just let me just put the label at the top, and here's a rectangle. Let me just make it like that. So I have this separator at the end of every single element. So in terms of UI, it's a bit nicer, let's say. Okay, cool. Now, one cool thing would be to be able to send the recorded item as an attachment in an email. So first, let's add like a send button. Let's say if we go to the different, we just select first my gallery, and we go a bit down. We're gonna see it, yeah, the send button. So I click on the send button, and let's put it like that. Okay, so what we want is to be able to send an email, let's say to ourselves, with as attachment the selected, let's say, record voice. So let me just grab my cheat sheet here, and I'll walk you through it. But before that, because we want to send an email, how can we, out of the box, or leveraging the default connectors, let's say in the Power App platform, to be able to send an email, we have to add, the sending email functionality. So how can we leverage that in the Power Platform? There's a connector called Office 365 Outlook. So I just add this connector to my set of available connector in my Power App, and then, yeah, select this one. Yeah, and now the connector is added in my Power App. So I can leverage the set of functionalities, the set of different functions that this connector make available. So if I select the send button, so the and I define, let's say, the onSelect property. So the onSelect property is like the event is that happens when I click on the button. Let me just hit paste. I have selected earlier and walk you through a bit. So here we are leveraging the Office 365 Outlook connector, and there is a function called send email that takes a couple of parameters. So the first parameter is the email, so the person to whom we want to send the email. And here, as I want to send the email to the logged in user, so I can leverage this this property, let's say, that's called user, that basically give me some information about the current logged in user, and I can leverage the email property. The second parameter is the subject of the email, so let's say it's voice note, and then the third one is the body, what I want to display as a body in the email. Let's say it's voice to remember, and then there are some additional parameters that we can send in as the email. And what we want to send is that, because we want to send an attachment, and here, yeah, it's just like the proper way to be able to send an attachment in an email, you leveraging this Office Outlook connector. So we have to just to send it an object that's called a table that takes the name of the attachment and the content byte of the attachment, and what I want to send as a content byte is the audio property of the current item. And here, after that, this function returns true or false. So this is why I'm putting the result of this function in a variable called result, and then here I am just checking if result is true. Notify. So notify just it is also an out-of-the-box function that displays this pop-up. If everything well, we can say that the email has sent, and the icon and the layout is like this green thing, so that we say that that the user knows that everything went well. If something goes wrong, we say email not sent and notification type error. And let's go and click on it. So if I select this one and I click on the send button, we say that the email was sent. And if I go to my emails and open my emails, we see, hopefully, if all goes well, that I received, just now, a voice note from myself, and as attachment, I have my MP3 file in the attachment. I can click on it, I can play it or download it and do whatever I want with it. And yeah, I think we are just 1 minute late. Really sorry, but yeah, basically, so I hope you had fun. So yeah, we could also add some functionalities, for example, this pin icon to be able to remove an item from this array and so on. And then there's many other also functionalities that we could have added. But yeah, that's it somehow for me. Sorry for the
no worries.
Taking a couple of minutes. So
yeah. Thank you very much for your nice demo. I've learned something today because I'm not using the add-in for the voice not so often. So it was cool to see what you could do with it. Does somebody has questions about the demo that was shown? I don't have any question in the chat, so then I thank you very much that you was here, because it was very nice to see what you could do with this, and thanks again. Yeah, okay, I thought that was a question for here. So again, thank you. And if everybody is okay, maybe we can start again directly with the direct news at the other session that Dieter will present. A Power Platform project, the digital open science platform. Is everybody okay that we can start directly with it, so that we have our longer break after the session of Dieter? Yeah, I see a lot of thumbs. So Alaa, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If Dieter is here live, yes, then I think Dieter, you can go ahead.
Yes, maybe as a small practical thing, we will be co-hosting this session. So my colleague Olivier de Bievre will also take some slides for his.
Yep. Okay. Olivier, hello. Yeah, didn't saw you.
So
welcome.
Okay,
thank you.
I'll start sharing my screen. And if all's well, my screen is shared now. Perfect, very good.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, so most of these slides will already be familiar for you who are attending these sessions throughout the day. Yeah, the practicalities and housekeeping we're aware of. If there are any questions, yeah, use the chat functionality, or we will have some time at the end of the session also to do some Q&A and to provide some additional insights. We both, Olivier and myself, are from CTG in Belgium, which is a proud sponsor of this event, so we're happy to be here. Both Olivier and myself are within the role of solution architects, pre-sales in CTG, more specifically within the applications and information from CTG. but we'll see that more in the slides. So the ideas today that we present, first a bit our organization, CTG, and later on the most interesting part, of course, will be Olivier giving some insights on one of the challenging projects we're working on right now, named the Digital Open Science Project. So CTG is an organization that's worldwide available. We are very proud to be receiving the Great Place to Work certification also this year, so multiple years in a row. So it's a nice place to work. CTG is a global organization, so we have a footprint almost everywhere around the globe. You can see some of the locations that we are active on this slide. Our headquarters is in Buffalo, New York. CTG has over 4,000 employees around the globe, and we have more than 20 offices worldwide. So Olivier and myself, we are both from CTG Belgium, so we operate from our office in Dichem, which seems a very long time that we've been in the office actually, but nevertheless, that's what we call home or work or office. That's our Dichem office. In Belgium, we have over 350 employees, so you'll see later on that we are divided in multiple units, and we serve, of course, a lot of clients throughout all different verticals in the market, so from banking, government to healthcare, utilities, and so on. So I explained that we have different services that we provide within CTG. CTG is quite known in the market for its testing services, but nevertheless, the other units or other services are also quite relevant. And of course, we are very proud to be part of the Department Application Information Solutions, IES, where we provide support for our customers in custom development, but also a very big focus on the Microsoft 365 services that are available. Hence the reason why we are sponsoring this kind of events, and that we are very proud to be part of that community as well. To be able to provide our customers with the right services, we have invested in a lot of partnerships. Some that are relevant for us, of course, is the Microsoft partnership, where we have the gold status. Omnia is a very important partner for us as well. Omnia is an intranet in a box solution, so it's an add-on on top of Microsoft 365 and SharePoint Online to provide a digital workplace experience, and we also leverage that in the project that will be discussed later on. Another partnership that's relevant to pinpoint is the Keepit partnership, where we provide cloud backup solutions with that partner as well. So within our unit, we are active with everything that's related to Microsoft, so in the custom development, but also in the Microsoft 365 platform. We do development and customization, so we create Power Apps going from the more straightforward Canvas apps that we use to leverage solutions for smaller situations, but also the very complex in the model-driven form of the Power Apps. We are, and that's something that we notice in the market today, we are very active in performing migrations. So customers that are moving away from an on-premise environment to Microsoft 365 for all the reasons that we as specialists in Microsoft 365 are aware of, for all the benefits there. And we can see that a main driver for everything in migration was the recent pandemic or the ongoing pandemic. So a lot of customers were in need of collaborating, having a cloud platform to be able to provide that support. So that's where we can assist our customers in doing so. And for that, we have a service desk also in place. It's a delivery center where we have the possibility to provide organizations support by our expert consultants based on an agreement, and we have an SLA there so that we can respond in a certain time to provide consistency and continuity in those crucial systems for them. And of course, our training aspect is also very relevant. It's important that end users and admins receive the correct training on those platforms. So CTG with its training academy, can provide the trainings for organizations and customers, of course. And then I'm going to ask Olivier to take over the presentation. We're going to talk about the digital open science platform. And Olivier, as a specialist and very closely involved in that project, will provide you more information on that.
Good afternoon. I suppose you can see my screen and you can hear me. Can you hear me, Dieter?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome. The Digital Open Science Platform is a Power Platform of Power Apps project started in 2019-2020. So we are already developing on that platform for about 2 years. So it's a source of information for researchers and all research and innovation employees of the Universities of Applied Sciences in Flanders. So it's the digital transformation of the manual researching to the digital researching with Microsoft technology, for sure with Power Apps. So the client is the University of Applied Sciences. All the 13 Flemish Universities of Applied Sciences. Those business and stakeholders, we have direct involvement and indirect involvement. The direct involvement is 13 Flemish universities with stakeholders, the council itself with 3 stakeholders and 1 external council consultant. And then, of course, we have indirect involvement, which, of course, 10 suppliers of the HR and finance applications, whether we have to direct and communicate with and synchronize with. Microsoft licenses with the EES agreement, Microsoft Azure subscriptions with the OCRE agreement, Microsoft itself, and Pressio Fishbone and Keep It, like Dieter already mentioned. The request, so the request was to develop an exchange system for data, for reporting, analysis, statistics, reference and directory between colleges, universities, research institutions, even in Europe itself, and of course the Flemish government and Europe. In order to stimulate interdisciplinary research, enable networking between researchers over the different universities of applied science itself, and find experts in specific disciplines. How did we build it up, or what was the question of the client was, okay, please provide for each high school platform that is deployed on the O365 tenant of that university itself, and that can communicate and synchronize their data with a centralized meta hub, which for each account would report it then to the government, to the Flemish government, and so on. The solution, so like I already said, we had a lot of stakeholders. We are already busy with about 2 years. We are now normally in April go live in production. So there are a lot of people involved with a different knowledge and different stakeholders. So how did we set up the governance? We set up the governance with an agile working methodology, because in the first instance, they didn't know what to build. They knew, okay, we need to digitalize, we need to report it to the Flemish government, to the for reporting purposes and for subsidies, but we don't know what we need to build. So the only way how to involve in that and have continuous involvement and process in that is with the agile working methodology. So depending on which part we are developing on that moment, we took 4-week sprints or 2-week sprints. Like I say, for the DOS framework, it's really straightforward. There's not a lot of feedback required from the stakeholders itself. So there we took 4-week sprints. For the customer engagement, like CRM and so on, then you have frequently demos. You need frequently have involvement of your stakeholders. We had also weeklies with the stakeholders on Wednesday, where we deployed and discussed all the targets and the deliverables that they required. How does the environment is built on itself? So for the users, we have three parties that we can supply. We have the internal users. Internal users, we call them the researchers that are connected to one or more University of Applied Sciences. so they are employed. Then you have the external users, because if you have a research, you don't have only the research deployed by or executed by the researchers of a university of applied science itself, but it can also be involved by an external partner, by example, by CTG or someone else who wants to also have additional resources in that specific research. And then, of course, we are project management, digitalization of data and documentation, but we also need finances. So we have to communicate with the finance applications of the University of Applied Sciences. We have also to communicate with the HR systems of the University of Applied Sciences. So that was a third part that we have to integrate with our own platforms to generalize and get the data required to give the project manager of the research the complete view of, okay, where are we, what is my budget, who can I have to deploy or to add to my research pool to execute some tasks. And all the data, depending on the status of the data, can be deployed to the DOS Meta, or synchronized to the DOS Meta, which will report it to the Flemish government. Like you see, we have an API layer. Everywhere, even if we communicate between the different DOS hubs, or the DOS hub and the DOS Meta, or the external parties, we always use our own API layer. We don't let them use, by example, the Graph API directly, because it gives you an additional security and also an additional certainty. If Windows or Microsoft changes the Graph API, we can mostly take it up on our own API without that the communication with the internal software, by example, needs to be changed in their API requests. This is how we build up the DOS service. As like I said, we have the different parts, HR software, finance software, DOS Meta software. They're connecting with our HS API, so high school API with webhooks and so on. And internally, we get those requests that they are getting in an asynchronous way, and we are delivering that or grabbing the data ourselves with the Power Apps API, the Windows Graph API, or the Microsoft Graph API, and the Omnia API. So no directly communication between external parties to our own environment. It's always going on our own environment itself. Another way of how we do it is, okay, the first step is a user adjust the contact details in DOS. What is going to happen? The DOS service bus is triggered. A message is sent to the webhook broker on the Azure part, and the webhook notification sending process is triggered. Based on that webhook configuration that we deployed, it will search for external applications that are requesting the changes of a contact. Then the webhook data is handled by the external application, and we send it to the external application. That application gets the webhook or the token. The token doesn't consist any data, it's just an ID. And then the token or the application itself will grab the data based on the ID we deliver. So it's always the application itself, the third-party application, that is requesting the data. We are not going directly write to or delete or update to the external application. The external application is always master, and in this case, DOS will always be slave, and will just deliver or retrieve data that is requested or is sent by the third-party application. Some examples. So it's important we have two big different environments. The first environment is the environment for the research itself, the collaboration of the execution of the research. So that part is totally implemented in the Microsoft Teams environment. So we added Power Apps, we added the communication side with Omnia. So for every research project that a researcher has, he will get a different Teams environment with their own governance, with the communication of, by example, for internal and external partners. Furthermore, We have also control documents. That's important for if you want to set up documentation, you want to validate that documentation, you want to publish the documentation. For DOSP, it was important when you're publishing documentation that you also could add and metadata to that selected file. So that's the most important part, the metadata of a specific report or a publication that you also have to report to the Flemish government. Furthermore, you have the Teams environment for the collaboration. In the collaboration side, you create documentation, you create reports. Those reports you enrich it with metadata, and on a certain time or a certain instance, you're also going to publicate it. That publication, we have multiple levels on how you want to publicate it. So that publication will be also publicated to the University of Applied Science repositories. So everyone who is involved in the DOSP application inside external can be reading or searching on the publications that are allowed for them. So we have also a list of published documents depending on the security or properties of the users. That's mostly for the collaboration part, where you're really executing the research itself, but also you have the governance, the administration of those specific projects. What are my budgets? Who is on the research? Do they have enough time to deploy? How is their contract, and so on? So on the power-ups part, what did we do? We created an account part where we of course have account information, the timeline, and so on, and other specific data. We have also the projects, the IDs, the partner requests where they can go in it. Furthermore, for reporting parts, we are using the Power-Apps dashboards that are built in Power-Apps, but for specific data, for specific reports that they want much more information and dynamic information, we use the Power BI reports and the Power BI dashboards that we also can implement in the Power-Apps solution. One side notice is when you're setting up a Power-Apps environment, you can choose between the Power-Apps environment or the Dynamics environment. We have chosen for the Dynamics environment. So even if we don't use the Dynamics business processes, we have chosen for the Dynamics environment. Why? Because the Dataverse database or your common data model of the Dynamics 365 environment is much more, or is more enriched and contains more data or tables than your Power-Apps common data model. Why is that so important? Because I think 3 or 4 of the applied universities of applied science are using Dynamics ERP or CRM on other applications. So for giving them the opportunity to smooth synchronize data between their own CRM or ERP systems of Dynamics and the DOSP systems of Power-Apps, it's easier to get the both Dataverse models the same, and that's why we are using the Dynamics data model instead of the Power-Apps data model. It's very important to decide that at the beginning of when you're setting up the project, to decide that with the customer. Because otherwise, I don't know if it's possible to migrate. For example, if you start with a Power-Apps Dataverse model and you want to migrate to a Dynamics Dataverse model, I don't know if it's really easy or if it's even possible to do that. Furthermore, we have also custom development, because we also know, and I think you all will know, if we talk about Power-Apps, if we talk about Dynamics, we are thinking about low code. But that's not it. It's for sure, it's 60-70% is low code. But if the client needs to have specific functionality, it's always possible to also implement or implement custom development. By example, we have a tab finance in our project account, and this part is totally completely custom developed in React. and so on. So that's very interesting also for the developers. You have the Power Up solution where you have a lot of tools and governance that are directly deployed for you, but you also have custom development where you find yourself in, and you also have your backends because we have the API services and so on. So it's a little bit a mistaken or misunderstood by a lot of developers that they think, oh, it's only low code development. It can get much more, for sure, if you have a big project like the DOSP project. That was my part. I don't know if someone has questions. I think I'm just in time.